With the current delay of new Pokemon anime episodes, I thought we could tide ourselves over with some anime topics about Pokemon journeys and a big event that could pop up in this series with Ash catching his first legendary Pokemon. Ash catching a legendary Pokemon has been a hot topic and constantly hoped for throughout the entire series. It would be one of the most impressive feats for Ash to achieve and be marked up there as a legendary moment in comparison to becoming a champion and remaining alive after all those movies. While Ash has captured a mythical Pokemon and an Ultra Beast and now even has a pseudo-legendary Pokemon, he has yet to capture one from the group of legendary Pokemon. This group right here. Right here. With how monumental of a moment Ash catching a legendary Pokemon would be, there is no doubt that the creators would at one point want this to happen and might have shown some hints to what he could be catching earlier on in the entire series. And with how this series has been shaping up and changing from what we've known as a typical journey for Ash, it looks like a strong possibility by the end of this adventure. Let's see just which 6 legendary Pokemon would be the most likely Pokemon to be added onto Ash's team, which ones are some of your guys' common guesses, what hints might have been left throughout the entire series as foreshadowing of who it could be, and which would be the best additions to Ash's roster. Hope you enjoy. Number 6. Zapdos. Some of these Pokemon are picks that have had moments with Ash that make you think it'd be a great Pokemon to see on his team, that also match Ash's personality and a style of Pokemon he'd choose or randomly encounter that challenge him to join. While Zapdos isn't the most foreshadowed Pokemon to jump in, it has a persona that could really amplify Ash's team and brings in an array of colorful moods and interactions that would be really fun to see Ash try to train and interact with. It goes from zen and calm to angrily sparked in a matter of seconds. That's another Pokemon who could happily laugh while electrocuting Ash. Ash has even helped calm this bird in the series. That might not be a catch, but he captured its heart. Look at that approval nod to Noivern after it evolved. Zapdos approves of the Pokemon Ash trained. It would also be the first new electric type to join Ash after Pikachu. It honestly seems like the writers would give Ash an incredibly rare and charismatic Pokemon to be the next electric type to even come close in competition with Pikachu. It could even show up in its new form to simultaneously be a Generation 1 and Generation 8 Pokemon capture, as well as having a more down-to-earth look that complements the Pokemon Ash has caught so far. Even though it is part of the bird trio, it definitely seems like the most likely with its rougher looks and more edgy self to match Ash rather than Articuno or Moltres. Especially Moltres, because there might be a little bit more needed for another fire flying type to compete with Ash's older and well-known Pokemon of this type. Number 5. Solgaleo. Sun and Moon may have just ended, but Nebby coming back after its moments with Ash, and even being one of the Pokemon he traveled with, really makes you think it could be set up to be captured. Solgaleo's design is one of the few main story box art legendary Pokemon that has a pet-friendly, happily agreed to tag along with the trainer look, and would be a loved pick for Ash's team. Usually the endgame main story legendaries look a little rougher to keep on an anime team, and if Nebby turned into Lunala, the design itself might be a little bit hard to have the same charm with Ash. But it turning into this friendly lion that affectionately licks Ash, combined with those grand times they've had together, might bring them back to each other. While this is a new series and Ash is going through it with no memories of his past, it could be the setup for a real story. Remember the fan theory of him being in a coma? Maybe it's true. Maybe his memories are repressed. What is this, the third new start to his journey? You also just can't show silhouettes of Brock and Misty in the anime and not have him bump into them at some point. And if he does, you can't just now say it's the first time he met them after all they've done together. That was like 1,000 episodes and I still have one of the VHSs, so I haven't forgotten. What if Misty and Brock are watching him from a different realm and are waiting for him to return to their world from the one he was transported to? But he can't see them, or get to them, or realize it, and those silhouettes are his memories that won't be unlocked until he finishes some very specific task right here. A Pokemon like Solgaleo could really be the light in Ash's life. Or at the very least be a Pokemon that's styled to be one of the coolest Pokemon he's ever captured. Although it's not likely for Nebby to return, having a new Solgaleo appear in the anime just to remember Generation 7 would be a great event, as many legendary Pokemon have had multiple versions and return appearances, and this would be the legendaries from Generation 7's first chance to pop back in. If Ash is filling his team with all generations of Pokemon, there are very few to choose from Alola with him catching most of the good ones already. And the only way to top his great picks would be to outdo all of them with someone who blows everyone's mind. It could be a token of his newest old friend in Lily, like how Dragon is a token of Iris, slowly collecting Pokemon that remind him of his old friends in his alternate universe life. Number 4. Suicune. There have been many legendary Pokemon that Ash had significant memories with that were remembered throughout. While it's likely that the new series might just ignore those events, it still does add some likelihood to be a contender for the legendary Pokemon Ash would be capturing, just to rekindle those moments and have everyone watching the new anime have a chance to relive those times and have them lead up to this. Suicune did appear in movies, but the first time it joined, it came in as a mysterious silhouette radiating its rarity. It gave off an amazing magical moment being surrounded in fog and disappearing from Ash. It felt like another legendary Pokemon overlooking his journey and following him along the way. He even got to ride in the 4th movie. While they do have their past together, Suicune is another one of those Pokemon in a trio that stands out as one that extends from the group and goes rogue on its own like a traveling CEO of the legendary beast that joins only when it wants to and gets highlighted in a different way than the others. It maintains that special, different feeling in the anime where it could leave the trio on its own and join Ash on his journey. It seems like a legendary Pokemon that has been focused on in the anime, making it a good fit for a storied capture. Number 3. Latias. You know Latias had a crush on Ash? Turned to a girl, got real close. A little too close. Ash does tend to capture some Pokemon that come off as very innocent or timid and help them grow into confident competitors to help achieve that Pokemon Master dream. And Latias seems like one of the top legendary Pokemon to be bolstered into a greatly beloved personality out of all his Pokemon, and that he keeps around not just for its power, but its playful self making him smile. Compared to other legendary Pokemon, Latias has more friendly, fitting attributes similar to Ash's personality. Not only does Latias have that loving Bayleaf personality, it's also one of the more cheery, smaller legendary Pokemon that's raring to go on an adventure and battle alongside someone. It's likely that it would have another capture story similar to Rowlet's, with an episode like the Alpha Sapphire quest, ending with them saving the two and Latias having another close moment with Ash and happily asking Latios if it can join Ash's team. Of course, the protective brother in Latios would be hesitant, but eventually end up allowing Latias to go after seeing Ash's courageous spirit. Latios is also a Pokemon who's already sacrificed itself. Wait, not that. It would definitely allow this friendship to happen for someone it cares about. And with Ash having a dream to become a Pokemon Master and a Latias by his side, he'd be taking very fitting steps to become the champion in this series by having two things with him opposites to the Pokemon on Tobias' team. Number 2. Kubfu. Kubfu is a legendary Pokemon that could walk out into public and not cause a huge reaction in the crowd. I do think it's special and has a nice look, but compared to other legendary Pokemon, if you have Kubfu walking with you, you're probably fine. But if you have Giratina, everyone's gonna be shouting, it's the end, and no it's not, we're at episode 22. Kubfu's design as a more quaint, legendary Pokemon that needs to evolve makes it one of the most likely candidates to be captured by Ash. Ash managed to catch Poipole from the Ultra Beast group and Melton from the Mythical group as their little selves, and having them around as their evolutions to show them off in a great way. That was in Alola, and they're both Gen 7 Pokemon. It could be possible that they continue the trend with Ash capturing another tiny evolving Pokemon from a new rare group and wanting to show off this generation's new Pokemon in Kubfu. It really fits how Ash captures these rare Pokemon, and with Generation 8 being new, it wouldn't be a surprise to see him have to train up the little guy and venture off into those DLC locations. Urshifu even looks like a nicely confident Pokemon to help Ash along the way and put its arm on his shoulder when things are riling up. It really does fit the trend of how Ash catches these Pokemon and makes for another challenge to see if Ash can train it. Riolu could even be Kubfu's little tag team partner to compete with Melton and Poipole. It might not be a Gen 8 Pokemon, but its impression and VIP status does match the group along with all the evolutions together. And while Kubfu could be the new series pick for Ash to get those Pokemon Master achievements, there's one Pokemon who could create an even louder bang. Number 1. Holo. Imagine Holo flying across the sky at the beginning and ending up as one of the Pokemon picked out that Ash could catch here. Even though it could be more likely for the writers just to choose Kubfu to join Ash as the little legendary training partner to evolve, Holo has a lot of characteristics and moments throughout the anime that would make its addition one of the greatest there could be. And maybe with Poipole and Melton already having the small grow-up phases for their unique groups, they could change that up with Holo. It would be one of the greatest moments for both new viewers and longtime viewers on its own, but even have that added nostalgia for those who have been around for a while, seeing this character be Ash's after all this time. Holo feels as attached to Ash as Mew is to Go. With the early anime stating how Holo has chosen Ash to be one of the people it visits, Holo visited Ash at a generation before it was even released, with no one knowing what it was in the first episode of the anime, and returned to be seen in the sky when he parted ways, ending an old journey and also beginning a new. Ash even recalled it to Dawn as a memory of when his journey began. It's been 3 times Ash has had to restart his journey. 2 times Holo was right there at the beginning, which can only mean it has to appear near the end of this one for him to capture. That would be an amazing ending to have this Pokemon, who's been there alongside Ash in spirit, join his team, and be one of the most remembered moments of any Pokemon event there has been in the anime. It has already appeared in the 9th episode in this series, and even though it was seen by someone else, we could be charging up for a real challenger to Ash's renowned fire flying types. Which is how often Ho breaking the embargo to visit Ash in Generation 1 is mentioned and remembered. It would be just as prominent to have it caught by Ash, and constantly talked about as the Pokemon that was there at the beginning after all these years, and joined in as a new member of the family.